Cathy Christensen, welcome to Shrink Wrap Radio.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Well, I'm excited to have you here. You're the co-founder of moderntherapy.online,
Yes.
a web portal that offers therapy online.
Yes.
Yeah, and you're the co-founder. Who's the other co-founder?
So the other co-founder is actually my husband. So my husband's name is Brandon Christensen, and we started this together. So
Yeah, I thought I saw the name and the last name, and I thought, well, either it's her husband or her brother.
yes, we get that a
Maybe
lot.
the father. I don't know. So yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, so we
Uh,
started it together back in August. So it's been
so
really
this,
awesome working together.
yeah, it's very new, huh?
Yes, yes, very new.
You say it's awesome working together. That makes me wonder if you're newlyweds.
We are newlyweds. So the
So the
last
awesome is still very strong.
the last couple months have been very busy for us. So we started our business in August and then we got married in October. So
Wow, wow.
yes, very
Okay.
busy couple of weeks.
Now I understand that you're a licensed clinical social worker.
Yeah.
And what drew you into pursuing a degree in social work?
Yeah, so I went for my undergrad in psychology. From the beginning, I knew that I had wanted to be a therapist. This was always something I was super interested in, just loved the field of psychology. So I looked up, what's the best way to become a therapist, and there were
Mhm.
a ton of different options, which
Yep.
every therapist knows is very overwhelming. So I decided to kind of go the path of, what can I do the most with if I decide I, want to work in a school or do something else. And social work just had a ton of different options. So
That's
I
true.
really like that.
Yeah, I taught at the university and in the psychology department, and so that was a question that would come up a lot from
Hmm.
students who wanted to be a therapist. And I would tell them social work will offer you the greatest latitude
Yeah.
in terms of possible career
Yes.
directions. Yeah, so that's
Yes.
true. And
Yes.
so, and so, did you have any traditional therapy experience yet before starting this online venture?
Yes. So I used to work in a private practice. So I did private practice therapy for about a year and a half. And then
Okay.
for 2 years, I was actually a therapist in an ICU. So that was more crisis management, really in the moment type of therapy. So I've had, a few different experiences with in person therapy, which have really prepared me for the online venture.
Yeah, yeah. Boy, the ICU, that must have been pretty intense, I would guess.
Yes, I was very in the moment. I worked with a lot of families, a lot of patients, end of life care. And I really was with them during kind of the most vulnerable points of their life. So it was kind of like, hi, nice to meet you. We're jumping right in. So
Yeah,
very different than traditional in person therapy that I was used to, but super
right.
experience.
And at what point did you become interested in online therapy?
So I was pursuing my clinical license and, I was still working in the ICU. And the thing about working in an ICU is that it's a really great experience. I connected with a lot of amazing families, but everyone in the field knows it's kind of a high burnout rate. It's very emotionally, physically exhausting. And I really wanted to go back to the traditional therapy route that I had originally done and that I really loved. So I thought, what is a way to kind of do it a little bit differently? I'm always looking for new things. And
Mm.
one day my husband and I were like, let's try online therapy. That would be a great way for you to see your clients. And that's something that I set out to do, to start seeing my clients independently. And it kind of just turned into therapists reaching out to us, more clients reaching out to us than we had expected, and kind of naturally grew into this bigger company that we are now moving forward with. So
Yeah. Now, is your husband trained as a therapist as well?
he's not. So he actually has a technology and sales background. So he's in business. He's been in business for the last like 6 years. And he started this with me. He was still working full time. And then one day I was like, things are much busier than we thought, and I need your help. So he actually
Yeah.
he left his corporate job, and now he's doing the business end of modern therapy full time now. So
So you guys are both feet in.
Yes. Yeah, we are 100% in.
Yeah, fully committed.
Yes.
Um, so I gather you didn't have any online experience before doing this venture in terms of using somebody else's portal out there.
No, I didn't. It was all brand new to me.
Yeah, yeah. So learning as you go.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
So what did you, I would assume that you must have looked into it a little bit to try to figure out, well, what are the pluses and minuses of this? Who else is out there doing this? What's their
Mhm.
experience? Did you do any kind of research like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we went back and forth a lot. We actually saw a lot of practice spaces in person because the idea from the beginning was let's do therapy. I had always wanted my own private practice. So we looked at places in person, and that was kind of always the route that we were going to take. And then, like I said, one day we're like, do people see clients online? Is that a thing? And we looked into it, and there was research out there saying that it was an effective way to see clients. And we did some research on some of the bigger named companies that are out there doing it, and we realized that a lot of people are doing it, and it's a newer thing, and it really just got me intrigued to want to try it. So the thoughts in the beginning were, let's see a couple people online. If this is weird, if it doesn't work, if it's not effective, we'll just go and get an office. And that was kind of the idea of like, let's try this and see how it works. And
Yeah.
it's just been working really great. So it's kind of just been snowballing, to be honest, to where we are now, and it's been really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell us about how the business is, well, in your, when you were researching it a bit,
Mhm.
what did you see as the pluses and minuses of taking this approach?
Yeah, so the pluses were, as a therapist, being able to work remotely, kind of being able to be in my own environment where I'm more comfortable and, at whatever time is better for me. There was less barrier to people getting treatment, being able to just be on your computer, on your phone, people that have kids that maybe have medical issues that can't physically get to an office is
Hmm.
really great for that. Some of the downsides is that online therapy is not for everyone. So it does take a lot more screening clients before you're able to kind of accept them. Whereas in person, I feel like there's more of a wide range maybe of people that you can see. And I think for online therapy, there definitely is, a certain type of client that is appropriate and a type of client that isn't appropriate. So definitely a lot more.
Well, yeah, I'm interested in that.
Yeah.
When you said it's not for everyone, I wasn't sure if you were talking about the clients or the therapists, and I imagine it's true on both sides, right?
I think a little both. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So let's start with the clients. Who is it really appropriate for and not so appropriate for?
Yeah, so I think that, anyone, and this goes for in person too, but anyone that has a high risk of suicidality, definitely that's something that we screen for right off the bat. And that's something that we can't accommodate. We're not a crisis line. And I think that some people, because it's the phone and video, they mistake us for a crisis line. So
Hmm.
that's something that we do a lot of education in the beginning, that if you are in serious crisis, that, we can't accommodate you. And that also goes for people that are in active domestic violence situations. There are shelters and safe houses and resources out there to really help that individual, and online therapy is definitely not going to be appropriate for that. And just some clients that have very, very serious mental illnesses, those tend to be more effective in person than online therapy. So if they, have a greater need for service, then I would think that in-person therapy would be a little bit more appropriate for them.
Hmm. And what about for therapists who are, maybe thinking about online? There
Mhm.
must be questions that they should be asking themselves. And I mean, you're pretty new to it, but do you have a sense of what personality factors might in the therapist might be better than others, or what's your sense of that?
Yeah, so I think that, from the therapist perspective, the first thing that we always ask is, do you have a quiet place to do therapy? And that's kind of the very basic, principle of it, is that it still needs to be confidential, it still needs to be professional. So although maybe you're doing it on the phone, you still need a quiet, safe environment that you can do that other people are not going to hear you. So, we always make sure that their physical environment is something that can accommodate online therapy. And I think it's just the comfortability of how the therapists interact with clients. If you feel that you're not able to connect with people very well, via email or on the phone, then maybe this isn't best for you. Then maybe doing it in person is still best for you. So it really is based on, what the therapists do and kind of what their modalities are and what they're more comfortable with. We always want our therapists to really be comfortable and kind of buy into the vision, if you will, of what we're doing. And, we're finding that a lot of therapists are really excited about it. So,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you make some good points. I mean, you wouldn't want the TV blaring in the backyard, in the background, the dog jumping all over you.
yes.
Yeah, you'd want to have a calm
Yes.
environment so that both the privacy that you mentioned and also
Mhm.
just so it feels like it's a therapeutic encounter.
Yes,
Uh,
absolutely.
and some people don't like talking on the phone. I'm going back to either the therapist or the client, and I've
Yep.
heard people say, that they just hate talking on the phone.
Yep.
I've
So
had
this
friends that,
probably wouldn't be for them.
yeah, yeah, I would think not.
Yes.
Yeah. So tell us about what you can about how the business is structured. Um, how does it work from a business point of view?
Yeah, so the way that it works is that a client will either go on our website or they'll call us and we assign what's called a client care coordinator. So they'll reach out to any individual that is interested in therapy, get on the phone with them, do a 15-minute non-clinical consultation, more so of do you have a preference of a male or female? Have you done therapy before? What's been effective? What hasn't been? Really get a feel for what their needs are. We offer two packages. So the first one is going to be just text and email. And then the second one is going to be text, email, phone, and video for the people that really want more of a face-to-face interaction, more of an ongoing conversation. Based off that and based off their location, they'll then be paired with a therapist. And then the therapist will reach out and they'll do an initial assessment. And that's pretty much just gathering all of, the information, the history, and then they get started with therapy. So depending on, what modality they choose, is how the therapist will reach out to them. So usually the first interaction is always via email, and then they'll take it from there, what the client is most comfortable interacting with.
Oh, that first intake that you mentioned then, is that happening on email?
So it'll be sent, yes, via email. That way they can fill it out and then they'll get it back to their therapists.
Okay. And how many people choose video versus don't?
So I thought in the beginning, and like you said, I'm still learning. I thought everyone was going to want video. Like, doesn't everyone want to see their therapist and see the interactions? And it actually turns out that most of our clients really enjoy either the email or the telephone. So that's what we've been getting a majority of, actually, which was
I'm surprised. Yeah, I would have thought the same thing that you did. Probably
yeah,
because, I'm doing a lot of
right.
video, so I'm comfortable with it by now.
Yes. Yes. Someone said to
Huh.
me the other day, I was like, well, we're doing this over the phone. Do you want me to set up the video? And she's like, you're just going to see me sitting with my dog. So I'm okay with the phone. But I really thought people were going to, be more inclined to the video. But I'm finding that, the phone and email is really people's priority.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And as a therapist, do you find that you miss the body language and the cues that would be available, if there was at least video?
Yeah. So, in my interactions with my clients, that's definitely something, again, that I thought in the beginning was going to be a huge learning curve. And it is, it's a different type of therapy when you're not seeing them in person. But what I'm learning is that, what I may be lacking from body language or, visual expressions, I'm having clients that are a lot more open, I realize, when it's through text and email. So I think that, they're less inhibited than when someone is looking directly at them, that they're actually
Hmm.
sharing a lot more within the first couple of interactions than my experience with seeing people in person. So, there's definitely some things that lack in online therapy, but I think that they're made up for in other areas as well.
That's a good point, that people don't necessarily want to be stared at.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, which is something that Freud discovered, I think, early on.
Yes.
he made it so that they didn't have to see him, and he didn't have to be looking at them, and they could pay attention to other aspects of their interaction. Speaking of which, what is your theoretical approach?
Yeah, so I really base a lot of my work on the humanistic perspective. So, I really like to focus on my clients' strengths rather than their flaws and kind of just build upon that. So, what I really like to do is I'll learn a little bit about their past and maybe how it shapes their current, life and their behaviors. But I really try to focus on the present and what are we doing today to better our lives. And something that I really believe in is that, our relationships really do form a lot of our lives. So I always try to encourage, my clients to rebuild maybe broken relationships, rekindle with family members, really get yourself out there, volunteer. So I really come from the perspective of clients need to really put themselves out there and make their relationships strong and take care of themselves. And that's kind of where my foundations lie.
Do you assign them homework?
I do. It really depends. I've had clients. I think another thing about doing it online is that clients are brutally honest with you. And I've had clients say, I don't want to do homework. I just want you to listen to me. I don't want you to tell me what I need to do or give me homework. And then I have other clients that will be like, yes, assign me homework. Tell me exactly what I need to do. So I find that being online, clients really advocate for themselves a lot and they will tell you exactly what they want and what they don't want, which is, I think, a little different than in-person therapy.
Yeah. How long do the sessions run? That is, how many sessions?
Yeah, so with our model, we do an unlimited model. So we have our therapists work Monday through Fridays, they'll get the weekends off. And for the phone and video, they're 30-minute sessions, but they can schedule more than one throughout the week. And then for our text and email, that will be ongoing throughout the weekdays. And if it's something where, I'm responding 2 or 3 days to a text, but you need more of an ongoing interaction, then I can actually log on and have a chat with you. And that's something that will also last a half hour, and we'll schedule that ahead of time. That way, they can have my undivided attention for that half hour.
Hmm. So it's interesting that it's half-hour segments
Mhm.
because the hour or 50 minutes seems so traditional.
Yes, yes. So
But you're moving away from that?
yeah, so I think, with the half hour sessions, we're able to interact on more of not a daily basis because we don't do the phone calls and videos every day, but it's more of a check-in. So, if clients need something a little bit longer, we always tell them that they can reach out to the therapist and say, hey, I need to talk for a little more than a half hour today. Are you available for the hour? And we really give our therapists the flexibility to kind of make their own schedule and, decide what's the best treatment plan for them and their clients. But what I find with the half hour is that I'm able to interact with them more. So, I'll talk to them Monday for a half hour. We'll text a little bit on Tuesday. And then on Thursday, we'll have another phone call or another video session. So I think that, the more we're able to check in, it kind of does become a little bit of a more of a regular habit. So I find that the
Hmm.
half hour sessions are especially good for people that are very busy, who have kids, and they can't always give the full hour as well. So it's really good.
Interesting. And uh, I was wondering, do you have a sense of how many sessions are sort of the average length of time that people spend working with a therapist so far? Again, understanding that it's all very new.
Yes,
But
yes. So you mean like how long people stay on our service, you mean?
yeah, how many sessions they do, or yeah.
Yeah, so it's actually interesting that you asked that because since we've started, we actually haven't had any clients who start with our service stop yet. So all of our clients that have signed up are still working with us. So, for the
Wow.
last couple of months, yeah, we've had clients that have all stayed on service. So we don't have an average length of use yet. But for most of my clients, for the phone and video, I will suggest that we connect at least 2 times a week. So it's usually 2 times a week. And, for now it is ongoing.
Hmm. And can I ask you what the cost structure is?
Yeah, of course. So for text and email, it's $25 a week. And then for text, email, phone, and video, it's $50 a week. So we like to be in line with, traditional copays.
Okay, run the numbers by me again. I want to take some notes here.
Yeah, so the text and email is $25 a week.
Okay,
And then if you want to add the phone and video to that package, it's $50 a week.
okay. Now, how do you keep from getting uh, from? Is there any tendency for people to abuse that? Since like wanting 5 half hours or 10
Yeah,
half
wanting to
hours.
talk every single day. Yeah, so what we do, and part of having the client care coordinator is that they're able to set the expectations of the client. So we are very straightforward that all of our clinicians actually have their own private practices, and this is something that they do on the side. So, we always let our clients know that these are real clinicians and they have real schedules, and to just be mindful and respectful of that. So far, we haven't had any issues with that yet. But we always tell our therapists, if someone is kind of abusing that or they're making you uncomfortable with the amount of times that they reach out, I really like to be available to just kind of step in and, see what we can do. Maybe they need something a little more intensive than online therapy. Maybe, there's other resources that would be more helpful for that client. But so far, luckily, we haven't had an issue with that. So,
Yeah, interesting. It seems like a very affordable model for the
yeah.
clients. Given what costs often are out
Mhm.
there, sometimes it can be quite a bit, and that can be off-putting for clients that can't afford it, or just they're not sure how interested they are. So that's kind of interesting. What about the payment for the clinicians? I've got a lot of clinicians who follow shrink wrap radio, and there might be some out there that are thinking, oh, maybe I would like to do this.
Yeah. So the way that we structure our payment is that all of our therapists, we pay them 50% of any of what we call monthly memberships that come in. So if someone pays $100 for that month, the therapist will make $50. So they get half of any of the packages that the clients are on. And then for any clients that they personally bring onto our service, so it's someone that maybe they've been seeing in person, but they want to bring them onto the online therapy, then we'll pay them 70%. So we
Okay.
try to compensate our therapists pretty well.
Yeah. Now, do the clients sign up for a package ahead of time? For example, a month package or
Yes.
a week package? Is there
Yes.
always a commitment to a certain? Yeah. What are the package options?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we do it on a monthly basis. So, we
Okay.
will tell our clients that, therapy is an ongoing relationship and you really have to try it for at least a month before you're able to see if this is something that, works for you. So we do it on a monthly basis, and then, we'll just let them know at the end of the month if this is something that you're not comfortable with. They can absolutely cancel at any time. But we do it, on a monthly basis. And what's great for therapists is that they don't have to worry about cancellations, about clients not showing up. It's able to be a little more mainstreamed and a little more steady for the clinicians, which we find is helpful for them as well.
Yeah. Um, there was another question I had, and it just popped out of my head. I don't know what it was.
That always
Um,
happens.
what qualifications do your therapists have to have?
So all of our therapists have to be fully clinically licensed in the state that they're operating in. They have to have, all their supervision hours, everything done, so they are licensed to independently practice. So, the laws right now around telepsychology is that the clinician has to be licensed and residing in the state that they see their clients in. So if a client is reaching out from Pennsylvania, then the therapist has to be licensed and living in Pennsylvania. So that's part of our matching process as well. But they are all fully licensed.
I'm in California, and I just tried to look into it. And also, I interviewed somebody else in this field um, and from that interview, I got the sense that the legal situation is somewhat unclear. I mean, it varies a lot from state to state and country to country.
Yeah.
Are you doing any international work at this point?
So right now we're not doing any international work. We do have the ability to. If clients reach out,
Of
there are
course.
ways to set that up. But because it's something that's so new, the laws really are not that clear. I know right now, like I said, you do have to be licensed in that state. But what we do is, as a client reaches out from a state that we're not already in, we'll actually reach out, to the board to kind of see, hey, what are the laws around here? What are we allowed to do? What are we not allowed to do? And it's actually amazing that we've called the board of social work, in other states, and they'll be like, oh, I'm not sure actually. We're like,
Yeah.
okay, well, we're just kind of keeping on it. And I think that in the next couple of years, we're going to see a lot of changes be made. So that's
Hmm.
something that we just make sure that, we're really on top of, and that we're constantly just seeing if anything new is out there. But
Yeah,
kind of
I think you're right about that. I was looking at the Marriage Family Therapy Board in California
Mhm,
online, and what I took away from that was similar to what you've said,
mhm.
that people in California, therapists in California, could see clients in California.
Yeah.
If they want to see a client that's in another state, the therapist is supposed to contact that other state
Yes.
and find out what the laws are there and see whether or not it would be permissible or not.
Right. And
It
I've even
sounds
heard,
that
yeah,
sounds like a lot of work.
yeah, and I've even heard of states say, if the client agrees that they're okay with a Pennsylvania therapist, that they live in New York, that they are okay with it, and you can, like you said, ask that state board if you're allowed to practice. And I mean, to me, I like to just keep things very, clean and legal. So we do just make sure that all of our therapists are within the state. And I think a big part of that too is just that there are cultural differences from state to state. So I think that having a therapist that's in your state is going to be really helpful to your treatment plan, because there may be things that go on, like in California, let's say, that in New Jersey, things are very different. And I may not
Yeah,
fully understand your day to day life the way that maybe a California therapist would. So I
that's
think,
an interesting point. I hadn't thought of that, but that I could
yeah,
see that really makes sense.
you
And I
guys get more
remembered
stuff than we do.
I remember the thing that I forgot, which was I gather you must be set up to take credit cards.
Yes, yes, we do need your
Uh-huh.
credit cards.
Yeah, is it entirely a credit card business, or do some people send checks or?
Yeah, so
or what?
far everything has been entirely through credit card. I mean, if someone wanted to send us a check, we definitely wouldn't have a problem with that. But
Yeah,
so far everything's been all credit card.
yeah, okay. And so how can clients know if this is a good fit for them?
Yeah, so I think, just trying it. I think that a lot of clients are scared in general just of therapy. So I think that,
Mhm.
if you're kind of looking to dip your toe in, so to say, I think that online therapy really is the least scary way to do it. It's kind of just, jump in, try it, and see if it's good for you. And, there may be times where maybe the therapist isn't a good fit for you. So we're doing it online, we're able to get that client a new therapist if maybe the therapist isn't the right care for them. So I would say just trying it. I think that everyone needs a therapist.
Has that happened, that a client has let you know, I would like a different therapist? Has that happened?
It has. We've had clients that have come back and just been like, I don't think that I'm connecting well with them. And we really try with the initial phone call to see exactly what people like. Do you like structured CBT? Do you like a more, fluid approach? Have you done therapy before? And what has worked? What hasn't worked? What are you
Mhm.
looking for this time? So we do try to, prevent that from happening. But absolutely, we've had people say, I don't think that that was a good fit for me, and we'll find out why, and we'll get them a new therapist. And I think it's kind of an easier way for them to say, I don't think this was working so well for me. When in person, they probably would just stop going. So it gives them another option, I think.
Yeah. So if somebody feels that way, do they communicate that to the therapist, which some people would be willing to do, but others might want to be able to say, go to you as the head of as the
Yeah.
administrator? I guess you have a dual role, right?
Yes.
You're an administrator and a therapist
And yeah. Yes.
on the system.
Yes. So what we do is the client care coordinator that reaches out, we make sure that they have that person's information and they have their email and their phone number. And what we do is actually within the first month of being on our service, the client care coordinator will reach out again to see, how is it going? Are you enjoying this? Is there anything that you could recommend to us? Anything, that you don't feel we're doing right? Anything you think we're doing really well? So they are in contact with that person. So in our experience, that has actually been the person that they have told, you know what, could you pair me with someone else? Because some people don't want to have that conversation with their therapist, which I think is a great part of therapy, is to be able to have maybe a little more of those confrontational moments and be
Sure.
able to discuss that. But like you said, some people just aren't comfortable with that. So they'll come to us.
So do you actually have another person on staff who is this coordinator that you refer to?
Yes. So it's actually my husband. He's the one that reaches out to everybody. So
Okay.
yeah, so he has that non-clinical role. And it's about a 15-minute conversation of just, what type of therapy are you looking for? What type of therapist? What state do you live in? Those different types of things, so that, we're able to match them with the right person.
Yeah. Well, as time goes on, you might find that you want to hire a person with clinical background to be in that coordinator role
Yes.
if the business gets big enough to do
Yes.
that.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
I did.
kind of bootstrapping it now and doing everything ourselves, which is really
Yeah.
fun. But it's funny, people will say, what is your role? And we're like, everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're growing with it, which is good.
I've asked you some very personal questions about the business, which
Yeah.
not all businesses want to uh, open up the kimono, as they say, with the details of their business plan and so on. But I had spoken to your husband, and he spoke to you about it, and he said, "Yeah, you can ask her any of those questions you want to."
Yeah.
So one of the ones was, how many therapists, how many clients are you currently have working in this system?
Yeah. So right now we have 5 therapists and we have about 30 clients right now.
Okay. And how long has it been going on again?
So we started in August.
This is what, March. Okay.
It's March. Yeah. So I just did the math too. I'm like, how many months is that? About 5 months.
Yeah. And so let's see, you've got 5 therapists. And so are all the clients pretty much in New Jersey now, which is where you're located?
So our clients are in New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. So we're currently in those 3 states.
Uh-huh.
What's great is that finding a therapist in another state is fairly simple. We actually have a lot of therapists that reach out to us very frequently from other states that, are looking to work with us. So, to go into another state for a client is actually, a pretty easy process to do. So if we have someone that reaches out, let's say from California, usually within a couple days, we're able to get them, paired with a therapist and get them started.
Are you advertising somewhere? How do they find out about what you're doing?
Yeah, so we're advertising on Google. In the beginning, a lot of it was just word of mouth because, like I said before, it really was a way for me to kind of see my personal clients, and that's kind of where we started. But as we started growing, we have been advertising on Google, and we also get out there. We do speaking engagements. We've been doing a lot of health fair events, blogs, really just trying to get our word out there and get our names out there, and
And
you
now
know
podcasts, right?
and podcasts, yes. So you're actually
Now,
my first podcast, so it's exciting.
now, something's happened visually that I'm not sure if anything changed on your end, but there's like a chrome there. Wow.
That
Yeah.
was weird.
I guess it was just the angle of the screen and the way the sunlight was striking it.
Yeah.
You,
Okay, I
you
think we're good
became
now.
a rainbow child.
Yeah, I'll take it.
uh, and let's see if I have any more questions. Um, what about the question of oversight of the quality of therapy? I gather
Mhm.
at this point there doesn't sound like there is any oversight. I don't even know if there should be or not. I think maybe there should eventually be. What about some kind of, are you keeping any sorts of statistics like a periodic survey, let's say, that the client would fill out about their satisfaction of how the relationship is going?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like I said before, the Brandon will reach out, just periodically to see, how is therapy going? Are you connecting well with your therapist? Things like that. And he's able to get a lot of feedback that way. And, I keep in constant communication with our therapist. And as of recently, we just, started having our therapist blog for us as well, which is something that I think is great professionally, just to make sure that they're always up on the latest research and, kind of knowing everything, relevant in the field, and also a way for us to really see, what are they working with? What are their perspectives and things like that. So we really try to be as involved as we can with our therapist, even though it's remote, we try to keep, the professional environment. And, I can really say that our therapists are really, really great and amazing. And we've had really good experiences with them so far. So
Yeah. So do you require that they blog, or it's an option?
it's an option. So that's something
Uh-huh.
that we recently, just reached out, that we've been able to give them that option to blog for us as well. And I think it just helps, the therapist grow professionally and continue to just, be up there with the latest research and information.
Yeah. It's interesting, that chromatic thing that happens on the screen. I've never seen that happen before.
Yeah, I know. I keep trying to move myself.
It's probably got something to do with, where the light is coming from.
It's sunny. Yeah. Very
Yeah.
sunny today.
Yeah, it looks like a nice sunny day. I heard there were huge storms in the east.
Yes, we have been very snowed in. So it's been difficult.
Really? Yeah. Do you have any sense of the competitive picture yet? You said that you found that there are other companies out there doing that. I'm envisioning that probably there will be a professional association for companies that are doing what you and your husband are doing. Does anything like that exist yet?
So right now there are, two main big competitors. And I think that what has been great about having some of the bigger competitors out there is that they've really been able to kind of pave the way for online therapy. So, I'm always excited about therapy, and anytime someone is getting the help that they need, that, I feel good about that. So we do have some bigger competitors out there. But it does help pave the way and kind of show us, what works for clients and what doesn't work. And we've heard feedback from clients who have tried the different companies before, and they've even come to us and said, hey, I've tried with this company and they do X, Y, and Z, and I really don't like that. What do you offer that's different? So,
Mm.
we try to, learn from what we hear about those companies.
Without having to name any of the other companies, I'd be curious about the X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah, what kinds of complaints?
yeah, so I think that, the other companies that we've seen that are a little bit bigger, what they do is it's almost like they are a technology organization, and they have this great software and, these great therapists, but they really limit the communication between the therapist and the clients. So they'll advertise it as unlimited, but it's really not unlimited. And they will actually stop paying the therapist after a certain point. So if ethically you feel, okay, this person deserves to continue to email me because they're on an unlimited package, but then the company is saying, well, yeah, you can keep emailing them, but we're not going to continue to pay you. They do that at a certain point. And from a client perspective, they really take out the human element. And I know that sounds funny, for online therapy, but
Yeah.
there really is the human element of, if you call, we will pick up the phone. And the other companies, you can't even get in touch with someone. It's so automated that it almost takes the human perspective out of therapy. And I don't think that that's something that is ever going to work for the long term, because I think that you need that human interaction.
Oh, yeah, I agree. What about insurance? Are you able to take insurance at all?
So we don't take insurance, but what we are able to do is, if any person wants to try to get the services reimbursed through their insurance, we can offer a super bill for them and have them submit that to insurance. Some insurances are currently reimbursing for telepsychology, so we have had clients get their sessions reimbursed. So
Ah,
yeah,
interesting.
that's cool.
That might be part of where it's all going to go, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, as we wind down here, I think I've asked all the questions that I wanted to. Maybe one other is do you have any plans for the future? This again may be too early, but do you have any plans that you kind of see yourself moving toward?
Yeah, so in the next couple weeks, we have a couple states lined out that we plan on entering. One of them being California, another one is Florida. And what I have learned so far is that every time I think something is going to happen a certain way, I always get pulled in another direction, and it's been really awesome to just kind of go with the flow and see what's come up, with the company and who's been reaching out to us and what positions we find ourselves in. And I'm really finding that being a startup, there's a lot of challenges and there's a lot of things that are really rewarding. So I've been connecting with a lot of amazing people, and we have a lot of great partnerships in the works. And I think over the next couple months, we're going to be growing a lot. So I'm really excited for it.
Well, it'll be good for us to check in again in a year or two and see how
Yes,
things have evolved. Okay.
absolutely.
So if things change significantly, reach out to me and let me know that you think you've got new material that people
Yes,
would be interested in finding out about.
absolutely. You'll be the first call.
Okay. Well, Cassie, this has been very refreshing speaking with you, and I really appreciate your, being as open as you have been about uh, the status of all of this.
Of
And
course.
I wish you good luck.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Well, thanks. Uh, my traditional ending is to say, Cathy Christensen, thanks for being my guest today on Shrink Rap Radio.
Thank you so much for having me.